What's up everybody and welcome back to my shop. If you're new here, we are working on building our own rooftop tent out of wood and hopefully saving a lot of money by doing so. In the last video we built the base of the tent. We essentially took 8 1x4s and built a simple frame around a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood that we trimmed down a little bit. So if you hadn't seen that video, go check it out. It's definitely important for the build. In this video we're going to start working on the top half of the tent. We'll be building the structural frame for the roof of the tent that will lift up. So let's get started. Alright, so what we have is the base of our tent with this 3/4 of an inch notch up that's so important right here. What we're going to do is we're going to build the top half of the tent 3/8 of an inch wider on all 4 sides. So what we're going to start doing is take our 1x2s and they're going to sit in this groove with 3/8 of an inch overhang on all 4 sides. The reason we're putting an overhang is because we need this space inside here. Remember, this is where the material of the tent will be mounted. So we need to keep, so this gap is important and this overhang is really important too. Now I won't be giving full length and width dimensions like I did in the first video. At this point in the build, your base might be slightly different than mine and I don't want to throw you off. So you're going to need to do your own measurements to get that 3/8 of an inch overhang on all 4 sides. Alright, I'm at the front of the tent. This is where the hinge of the tent will be mounted. Now, if you wanted to, you could leave the front of the tent flush and all the rest of the 3 sides do that 3/8 of an inch overhang. And you could do your hinges on the outside. This isn't the look I'm going to go for though. I don't want to be able to see the hinges. I want a really clean look. If you do go to mount your hinges to the outside, you might want to leave yourself a little bit of a gap here. You got to think about your weather seal. Along all 4 edges we're going to have weather seal, so you want to just leave yourself a little bit of room to put that seal. But like I said, I'm not going that route. I'm going to use a 48-inch stainless steel piano hinge. The great thing about these is that you can trim them down, and I'll probably take a little bit off of these. I'm going for that really clean look. I don't want to be able to see the hinge. So what I'm going to end up doing is laminating 2 1x2s together in the front so that this 1x2 can give me that overhang that I'm going to have, and then the hinge will mount to this second 1x2. The front of the tent is the only place where I'll be using 2 1x2s. I'm going to do just 1 1x2 around the rest of the tent. Alright, we got our top boards clamped in place. I'm just checking for that. Make sure I have that 3/8 of an inch overhang. So, looks like I'm right on it. Perfect. Alright, always remember to drill pilot holes wherever you're going to put a screw. If you don't, the wood will crack every single time. Now we're going to do a glue up and then use the screws to clamp, and then once it's fully cured we'll remove all the screws from each corner. we're gonna cut some small 45-degree angles out of this, and then we're gonna glue them up in the corners of our frame. Alright, this is what we have so far. Just this wooden frame that's just a little bit wider than our base. Some pretty simple carpentry going on over here. But if I lay it down, you can kind of see what the tent will eventually look like. It'll raise up from this end, and I'll sit at about a 45-degree angle, just like that. I'm getting excited. It's starting to come together. We still got a lot to do, but I think that looks pretty good for now. Alright, now that we have our top frame, we're going to start working on the shape of the top half of the tent. This is where you have some creative freedom. You can kind of make the tent look however you want it to look. If you look at the first tent that I built, you'll see that it's got like shapes and contours, and so that's the part we're going to make. So if you want it to be more boxy, you can make it more boxy. If you want to make it more rounded, you can do that too. You really can't mess this part up. This is like totally up to you. So I know this is going to be kind of hard to explain, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 3 bulkheads, for lack of a better word. If you think about a bulkhead for a boat, the bulkhead is the same exact shape as the hull, and it's what gives it its strength. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to create 3 bulkheads that are the shape of the contour of the top of the tent. And I know that's kind of hard to see at this point, but just stick with me and I'll show you how to get this shape. So what I have are my 3 like bulkheads that I was just mentioning. These are just 1/2-inch pieces of plywood that I've cut to the width of that top frame that we just built. Now for my tent, I want a slope from like front to back. So what I've done is I've cut 3 boards at 3 different lengths. I got a 4, 5, and a 6-inch board, and we'll stack those from front to back, and that'll give us that slope. Now you can kind of start to get an idea of what the shape will look like. Alright, I hope y'all can kind of see what we have going on. We've got this nice, like, we're going to have like a sloping edge here, and then I have like this little notch up here. Now this is an example of creative freedom. You really can pick any shape you like to. The next thing we're going to do is attach it all together. So it doesn't really matter what shape you pick, it'll all fit together the same way. So yeah, if you wanted to have more of a curve, you could do that, or make more of a boxy shape if you like. You really can't mess this up. Like I said, the next thing we're going to do is attach everything together. We'll attach our bulkheads to the frame, that top frame that we built, and then we'll start connecting the bulkheads together. I'm also going to cut out some material here. We don't need this to be a solid piece, so we're going to Cut it probably like a 2-inch around all 3 pieces. Much better. Now that we have our bulkhead attached to this upper frame, we need to attach the bulkheads together. Now what I would suggest doing is just cut some lengths of 1x2 that fit perfectly between your bulkheads and then attach them from the back side. I would do about 5 of them across the width of the tent. Now this isn't what I'm going to be doing. You can see these notches I've cut. What I've done is I've ripped a 1x2 down to a 3/4 inch square, which will fit perfectly in these little notches here. Now this is something you definitely don't have to do this the way I'm doing it. This is definitely more difficult and definitely more time consuming. I'm just playing around with some new designs and hopefully a lighter and stronger design, but with my first tent, I just cut 1x2s and put them in between each bulkhead, and that seemed to be fine. The next thing we're going to do is attach the bulkhead to the back and the front with some more 1x4s. Now you're going to want to cut a piece like this that has these angles here that match here and here, just like that. Now an easy way to get that angle, you're going to take a piece of scrap piece of wood like this. You're going to put this bottom edge on the inside edge here, right on the edge as close as you can get it. Then you're going to take another piece of wood here and go behind it and hold that real tight, and then just mark this edge here. Now you'll take this piece of wood and you'll set your miter saw up for that angle right there, and then we can cut these edges here. Boom! Look at that. Got the back attached. This thing's starting to look really good. Got the front attached. Next thing we got to do is put on the plywood skin. Next thing I'm going to do before we put that plywood skin on is we're going to take the screws out of all 4 corners and round this top frame off just like we did down here. So we'll draw a radius or a curve here, and then we'll cut that down. I think that's where I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm trying not to make these too long. In the next video, we're going to be applying the plywood skin to the frame that we just built. So if you have any questions or comments thus far, please feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. I hope y'all are enjoying this video so far. Hope it's motivating you guys to get out and build your own rooftop tent. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.